on 1015 FM KDAWN.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Good morning, Las Vegas. What's going on? Welcome to the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 1015 FM. The talk of Las Vegas. It is the best in pro wrestling right here. That's right. You know, the home of WrestleMania again this year. And looks like we'll be doing some work with WWE. Pretty excited about that. But it is going to be an entertaining show. A little bit different. We have two great guests that we have on the show. First guy, actually, both of them have been on the show before. First one that'll be coming up here in a little bit, Mr. Outrageous, WWF veteran. He did 5 years over there. Got beat up a little bit, but that's okay. Won the Real Award from the Cauliflower Alley Club a few years ago. That was when we had him on last. Of course, actor, all over the place. So probably the biggest role for him in The Wedding Singer is that crazy Billy Idol fan. Also did a Super Bowl commercial this year too. Al Burke is going to be joining us. We get a unique perspective from Al. Trust me, he is a great character. And he's been in there with some of the best. So it'll be fun to talk to Al. We also recorded an interview with Jimmy Failla from Fox News Saturday and Fox Across America, which you can hear on this station from 3 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. So Jimmy Failla stepping in for a little bit. Unfortunately, we had to tape the day before the State of the Union address, got pulled into a production meeting. So it wasn't as long as I want to be, but you'll hear it. But always very good to talk to Jimmy, a longtime pro wrestling fan. And if you ever listen to his show, he's making pro wrestling references all over the place because he's loved it since he was a kid too, just like a lot of us. So looking forward to hearing from Jimmy Failla in hour number 2. Well, last night, Elimination Chamber, kids. And we'll be bouncing around on this a little bit because, man, there's a lot to take in from this show. But I want to start with the non-ring stuff that took place at Elimination Chamber as Danhausen showed up. For those of you that aren't maybe familiar with Danhausen, it's been on the indies for a long time, was in AEW. He's kind of a vampirish type figure and loves to curse people and bring out teeth. But Danhausen was the mystery crate as he popped out and had a bunch of Danhausen-y dancers. Good for him. Way to go. Congratulations. Did this little thing up to the ring. They did a kind of a poof of pyro. I wasn't quite sure what the heck that was. The lights go out, and indie legend Danhausen. Well, it's hard to say what they were exactly booing, but the Chicago crowd, which was one of the deadest Chicago crowds I've ever heard, booed Danhausen and booed the whole thing. This is going to be very interesting because Danhausen, I've seen him wrestle, and he's pretty good. And the character's hilarious. I'm just wondering what WWE is going to do with him. A lot of people were commenting, who's this skinny dude with the big tattoo? And I don't know how many. I just wondered. WWE fans, they're just diehard. Don't watch anything else. Because I don't know if some of them just didn't know who he was or what was going on there. But Danhausen, I don't know. That's a rough debut. What will he be doing in WWE? I think that's the big question. What's he gonna do? Are you really gonna be putting him in the ring a lot? I can't see that. Look, Danhausen's not a big guy. Now, is he gonna be, probably a pain in the butt to a lot of people? Yeah. Is he gonna go around and be silly? Yeah. I just wonder if WWE just brought him in because he's a merch king. Oh, a lot of people have bought Danhausen stuff. They still do, and people like him. But I question the role, and I saw some tweets say, "Well, he didn't fit in AEW. He'll fit in WWE." I'm like, what? I think Danhausen was a much better fit in terms of what he did for AEW than he is for WWE. And I saw another tweet about how there's probably a lot of people in the back are like, Danhausen's on the pay-per-view. Now there's people, I'm sure they like him and it's not a grudge or anything like that, but you kind of have to feel like that's what, or it would be going through people's minds. Aren't there people there that have been there a long time that would deserve to be on that pay-per-view more than Danhausen? Very strange stuff. I when I first heard that news that they were considering it, I was just surprised. He just doesn't. He'd have fit in the 80s to a point. The size would have been terrible because guys were even bigger back then. But in terms of the goofiness and the campiness and everything else, yeah. Javon Campbell in the chat box, by the way. And if you are not listening if you're listening on the radio and you want to get involved, you can always hop into our chat boxes on X, Facebook, and YouTube, The Mark Hoke Show and at Mark Hoke Show. If Danhausen believes in Joe Henry, would Coach Tousey boo him too? I don't know. Come on, John. I know it's early. But hop in that chat box. But we're also on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. If you want to listen to all the great shows on KDAWN, you can tune in right there. Plus, we've got all of our great stations, 220 of them, man. It's a lot of stuff to listen to. So get that app right now, AUDACY. And I want to thank everybody, by the way, that's been viewing stuff on our Instagram and TikTok accounts. Those are both the Mark Hoke Show. So you can sign up for those. That would be, Danhausen might curse you if you don't. So be careful. So that was one interesting thing that happened at the Elimination Chamber last night. And of course, we had some wrestling going on too. Women's match. Rhea Ripley coming off one night before losing the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, storms into the Elimination Chamber, and she is back in the main event at WrestleMania. She'll be taking on Jade Cargill. They're already trash talking each other on X. Boy, and that is going to be a fascinating matchup, isn't it? I mean, look, Jade does have her shortcomings in the ring. She is a physical specimen. This will be fun. For her getting to work with Rhea will probably help. Hopefully they put together a pretty good match before the showcase of the Immortals here in Las Vegas. It'll be Rhea Ripley wins her Elimination Chamber, and she will face Jade Cargill. On the men's side, oh boy, was that a crazy match. But it is the Viper, Randy Orton. And, I said this. I wanted give me Rhodes, give me McIntyre. give me Orton. You want to throw a fourth in there? I suggested Lesnar because of all the history you have with those guys. That's okay. Brock Lesnar is doing an open challenge. Okay, great. I'm cool with those guys, but we still have a potential of, say, Jacob Fatu, Sami Zayn. I mean, this could be a huge match. But for right now, it is Randy Orton challenging Drew McIntyre. But because of Drew sticking his nose in again, our good friend Nick Aldis, the GM of SmackDown, has said, hey, you know what? We're going to make you defend against Cody. So now we're going to get Cody Rhodes against Drew coming up here on Friday. Is Cody going to get in the going to win? I should say, is he going to win back the championship? I don't think so. I think they'll work something out on that maybe Randy interferes. But that'll be a three-way on that. Well, who knows? There's still plenty of time, but we'll see how this whole thing turns out. We've also had in there CM Punk beat Finn Balor. Good match, but predictable result. I give credit. Cool open. Decided to go with the Chicago Bulls 90s open. Brought back the announcer and everything. Yeah, but it's disappointing. I mean, I'm a Finn Balor guy. I like Finn Balor a lot, but doesn't get it done. So we're still at Punk and Reigns, which is fine. Roman knocks his block off. It's going to be awesome. And we also yesterday have a new Intercontinental Champion as AJ Lee takes advantage of some shenanigans by Becky Lynch as she took a turnbuckle pad off and it didn't work out for her. And AJ Lee is now the new Intercontinental Champion. But can I just throw something out here? Mr. Punky Punk, please, for the love of God, do not do any more naked pictures with the two belts. Jiminy Christmas. I don't even know what to say about that picture. If it's on his Instagram, you make the call, everybody. You make the call. But AJ Lee walks out with the Intercontinental Championship. Oh, we're going to get more into depth into what's going on with the with Elimination Chamber and breaking down everything that's going on in WWE. By the way, chat box, Coach Keith Morrison says, God, please don't let Cody win on Friday. He might. I don't know what to say about that. They got to figure a way to get Cody back into this. I thought you could just said, hey, he didn't get his rematch yet. But I don't know. I think Drew deserves to go in there with the belt. If you're going to make the move, fine. Let Drew go in with the belt. All right. We are going to step back and take a break. And we do plan to have Al Burke come in here on the show. Should be a lot of fun. Jimmy Failla coming up later on, too. So stick around, everybody, as we bring you the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment on the Mark Hoke Show. Stick around, a whole lot more here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the Talk of Las Vegas. We'll be right back.
Nevada's essential workers keep our state running. Now, One Nevada Credit Union wants to help you own a piece of the state you support. Eligible home buyers can receive up to $20,000 in down payment assistance to use towards your down payment, closing costs, or eligible loan expenses. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for your next home, if you work in healthcare, education, law enforcement, or construction, this could be your key to home ownership. Don't wait. Visit onenevada.org today.
Membership required. Loans subject to credit approval. Program eligibility and terms apply. Equal housing lender. lender.
Nevada's essential workers keep our state running. Now, One Nevada Credit Union wants to help you own a piece of the state you support. Eligible home buyers can receive up to $20,000 in down payment assistance to use towards your down payment, closing costs, or eligible loan expenses. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for your next home, if you work in healthcare, education, law enforcement, or construction, this could be your key to home ownership. Don't wait. Visit onenevada.org today.
Membership required. Loan subject to credit approval. Program eligibility and terms apply. Equal housing lender.
Wendy's has a new Girl Scout Thin Mints Frosty Fusion with Girl Scout Thin Mints cookie pieces, rich, creamy Frosty, and a mint chocolate cookie sauce. Which means Girl Scout Thin Mints and Wendy's Frosty, yeah, they're basically best friends now. It's like two delicious desserts just high-fived, snapped a few too many friendship selfies, and then rode a tandem bike down a never-ending road of mint chocolate Frosty perfection. So, swing by Wendy's and try the new Thin Mints Frosty Fusion.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Empower.
Pete's back on the links with all new golf clubs and hopefully less swearing.
Bang! Sliced it.
He worked with Empower to help him get good at money so he can be a little bad.
Heads up!
Oof. Talent sold separately.
Guy said these were slice proof.
At least he has money for lessons. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code PLAN to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code PLAN to borrow up to $10,000. Use code PLAN to borrow up to $10,000.
1015 FM KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
And we are back on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 1015 FM. The talk of Las Vegas. Also streaming on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Go pick that puppy up right now. Get it on your phone. And I promise you that Al Burke will come to your house and congratulate you on it. It's going to be fantastic. Let's get him in here right now. Of course, got to meet Al at the CAC a couple of years ago. And legendary pro wrestler and actor who, by the way, just did a Super Bowl commercial. It's pretty cool. Al Burke, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I was fortunate. I did my third Super Bowl, not in a row, but hey, it was a fun commercial. It was a very heartwarming commercial, kind of relevant now in today's age and everything that's going on. So no, I've been very blessed.
Yeah, that was a really good commercial. That was. Yeah, congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I played the mean, angry, ornery neighbor that at the end, kind of comes around. But that's what it was all about. They used the Mr. Rogers theme, can't we be friends kind of thing. And, so the neighbors become friends.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, well, congratulations, Al. How do you get to be in a Super Bowl commercial? I mean, how do you pull that off?
I have an agent. I have actually a couple agents, but my commercial agent sent me out for this. I was also up for the Lay's potato chip commercial on the Super Bowl.
Oh, that was a good one too.
That was, and I had shot a Lay's potato chip one, I think 2 years ago. So I was in the running. I didn't get it. They filmed that in New Zealand.
Wow.
So everybody flew from Hollywood to New Zealand to film a commercial. I did mine in Mexico City. Why other than money, I don't know. And I think everybody they all want to go on vacation. Like, where should we go? Hey, how about New Zealand? Let's fly everybody over there. okay.
Hey, what are you gonna do, man? I wouldn't turn down that gig, that's for sure.
No,
But yeah,
and they're paying good money, so no, you don't step over that kind of a thing.
yeah. So if you want to check out Al's commercial, it's the Redfin Rocket Mortgage commercial. It's titled "American Needs Neighbors Like You." So if you want to take a look at it, you'll see Al in that commercial. So once again, congratulations on that. Al, for those for people that didn't get to catch him maybe the last time you were on the show, it's been a little bit. Tell everybody a little bit about your wrestling career and what you did.
I ended up doing 37 years in the ring. I worked 5 years for the WWF, not the WWE, evil. But anyways, no, I had a really good run. I won 16 different championships for different organizations around the world. So there again, very blessed with that career. But, with that came a lot of hard work and a lot of travel and a lot of time and a whole lot of working out.
Oh, I would imagine. And, especially in the era that you wrestled in, man, you ran into some of the biggest names in pro wrestling and literally ran into them.
Well, the biggest names and also the biggest guys. I mean, I went against Andre the Giant, guys like that, Big John Studd. These are definitely some of the biggest guys in the business ever.
Yeah. What was it like wrestling Andre?
Intimidating. The first time I wrestled him, it was Andre and Haku. They were the Colossal Connection, and went out there and Haku and I laughed today. Even I see him over at the CAC, and I told him in the ring as soon as he tagged in Andre, I go, I don't get paid enough for this. I'm out of here. Went over, tagged out, and the guy, Andre fell on the guy, and I was like, ooh, boy, good decision for a change.
Nice.
And then about a month later, I was back up against him again, and I went to Haku, and I says, you understand that, we've already worked together recently, and normally they didn't do that, but they picked me apparently because I knew what I was doing or whatever. But that one I had already wrestled, so they told me, go out there, don't tag in. So I'm there and I'm ready. And a really good friend of mine, Scotty Watts, was with me, and he comes over and Haku has him. I'm like, tag, not today.
Nice.
The crowd hated me. But at the time, they were the tag team champions of the world for the WWF. And so, very honored. And, sadly, guys like, Andre are gone now, Big John Studd, the Hulkster. I mean, all these people that I grew up with and, were on shows with, sadly, they're gone.
Well, Hogan was the one that kind of got you in the business, correct?
That's correct. Friends of mine took me over to his apartment back in his AWA days with Vern Gagne. And, I fought the idea because I thought it was really stupid. It's a stupid business. And boy, is it a stupid business. But it was a great business. It opened many, many doors. It opened up Hollywood for me. I'm not sure if you were at my my acceptance speech at the CAC when I got the REEL Award, REEL, for all the things I've done in Hollywood. But I told people, I've never taken one acting class ever. Wow. Everything I do in acting came from pro wrestling, because that's the kind of things that we had to, let the crowd see. They may not hear it, but they can see it. And so we learned to, act out the pain, act out the anger, things like that. So, yeah, I'm very thankful for my wrestling, because it did open up my acting, which I've now done probably 30 years of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. One thing that I didn't ask you about this the last time. I forgot that you were Dr. Feelgood in the UWF, Herb Abrams Insane Asylum.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the atmosphere of the UWF, because anybody, and that's kind of the reaction that everybody that was involved in that does. They get all giggly. They're like, "Oh my God, what happened in there?"
I was inside the office. I got hired, to work, and did a couple jobs. And then for whatever reason, Herb liked me or trusted me or all of the above, brought me into the office. I ended up second in command in charge of all West Coast operations.
Wow.
Because Herb was more East Coast. The craziness I could tell you about, the hookers that would come over to the office middle of the day. And, sadly, Herb had a lot of skeletons in his closet. One of them was his drug use that ended up costing him his life. Do you want me to go quickly into how he died?
Sure.
We had just come back. Herb, I, and Dr. Death Steve Williams had just come back from a trip to Maui, to Hawaii. And a lot of fun, a lot of drinking. And Herb was just this character. And, he was really a character in real life too. But we get back and the story is he was in a big schwanky New York hotel. We're guessing it's the Plaza. And he was naked, bathed in baby oil, with a baseball bat when the cops showed up.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was kind of Herb's MO.
Yeah.
Herb knew that if he got in trouble again, he was going to prison. Kind of like the Kerry Von Erich story. Herb panicked. Like he always said, a little Jewish boy in prison will never be good. So he was scared to death of that, and he ended up stroking out right there and died in police custody, which is, I was very angry. I mean, Herb could go out and raise $500,000 in a weekend.
Yeah.
He would blow it all on drugs, or 90% of it, but that was Herb. I got to be close with Herb. I traveled. We did Israel together. Herb was deathly afraid of women with makeup on. So when the hookers would come over, they would have to shower in his place. It's just, very bizarre dude. At the MGM Grand, I ended up taking the fall for Herb because he got caught with a hooker in his room by his girlfriend. Oh no, sorry. She was mine, and everybody that knew was like, yeah, right. That was Herb. Like, So, it was an unpredictable, sometimes scary, but very exciting ride with Mr. Herb Abrams.
Oh, I could only imagine.
Story. You couldn't, I believe you.
The stories that I've heard about that run or something else.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a little bit about a professional role that you have, when you were in WWE. What term do you prefer, or WWF, excuse me?
WWF.
Yeah, WWF. When you're placed in the role where you're the guy that's going to lose the matches consistently, how do you feel about that? I mean, is there a feeling of, boy, I want a little more, or is it, hey, they're signing a paycheck, I'm just going to do what they're going to tell me to do, and that's it?
My very first night out was against Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Louisville, Kentucky. And I asked some of the senior guys that had been there before, I go, do I go out? Do I try? They go, you think this guy's going to give his job to a pissant like you? He's making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, good luck on that. So I went out and I realized, number one, I didn't know enough. I had only been in the business, I think, 2 or 3 years at that point. So I was out there paying my dues, also paying off my debt of going to wrestling school, which isn't cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up doing that in the first 2 years of WWF, just from what I made there. So the pay was good. We learned our place. I mean, when you're going against the biggest, baddest guys in the world, I mean, the Ultimate Warriors, guys like that, Legion of Doom, these guys are monsters. And they were good. My match with the Legion of Doom, I knew them from Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Because, they were based out of there originally. And in fact, what was it? Animal's son, I think, went to school there. They continued on the legacy there. But they came to, I go to them and I go, hey guys, we're working together tonight. And they go, yeah, we picked you. Like, oh, okay. It's going to be a rough night. Sorry. This is our first match here. We got to come out really strong. So it's going to be rough. I'm like, fuck you. Come on, boys, bring it. Well, if you watch the tape, and it's all over YouTube, it looked like they were just destroying me. Those guys were such good pros. I mean, yeah, the drop kick, they hit you here, solid as could be. The foot here, as light as could be.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure to work with them. Sadly, they're both gone now.
Yeah.
Like so many of my friends there. But yeah, when you got stuff like that and, you're able to go around, and I know when I fought the Ultimate Warrior, I was really good friends with Ravishing Ricky Rude. And when I came back into the locker room, and it turned out that time was when Rude was doing his angle against Warrior, I come back and Ricky comes over to me and goes, dude, that was just all wrong. And I'm like, hey, I'm just here to do my job. And yeah, he tried to rip my arm out of the socket. I mean, it was a little rough, but hey, that's what we signed up for. And, I'm not going to whine and complain because I made really good money through them. I got a lot of travel through them, and they don't do it anymore. So I'm one of the last breeds that got to travel all over for the WWF. That was cool.
How tough do you think it is for people coming into WWE now that have built reputations, that maybe they were in other organizations or they're coming up from NXT, and then all of a sudden they find themselves in that spot where they're losing matches all the time, and maybe they have bigger aspirations? How difficult do you think it is for those guys that are in that position where they're used to a lot of success, and now all of a sudden they get to the top and it's like, oh man, what's going on?
Yeah. It's an attitude adjustment. I mean, is the money worth it? Is your spot in the WWE worth it now? There's still the top dog out there, and no matter what happens with Vince and everybody else and, selling it here and doing that and getting in trouble, it's still the WWE, WWF era. A lot of guys that came in after me were kind of disappointed because it's, we wanted to be in the WWF. We were too late for that. Yeah, I got to. Thank you. I'm very, very proud of that. Did I get my ass kicked every week? Yeah, but there again, by the biggest, baddest dudes in all of wrestling. It is what it is. That's what I signed up for. And yeah, paydays were awesome.
I'm sure. Well, Al, do you want to stick around for one more segment?
I can.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we have to get a commercial break in here. And when we come back, we're going to have more with Al Burke. Just so much incredible knowledge, and has been through every major era of wrestling since the late 70s, early 80s. So, it's if you have your questions in the chat box, fire away. I bet I'll answer them for you too. So stick around, everybody. We got a whole lot more on the Mark Hoke Show. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Sherry Harris, owner of LifeSource Water. Nevada's desert water is some of the worst in the country. It's tough on your skin, your hair, and your home. Most people turn to old-fashioned salt-based softeners, but there's a better way. With LifeSource, you get clean, conditioned, and healthy water from every tap. No salt or expensive maintenance. Just fresh filtered water that protects your family and your appliances. Call 1-800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com.
Warranty limitations apply.
At Meineke, we believe taking care of those who take care of all of us matters. That's why veterans, first responders, nurses, and teachers receive 10% off any service, up to $100. From brakes and tires to engine repairs and oil changes, our certified technicians get you back on the road with care you can trust. Every visit includes a free digital e-inspection with photos and videos, so you know what your car needs before any work is done. Schedule today at Meineke.com. Trust your key with Meineke. Meineke, doing car care right.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply. The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text METER to 42424 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text METER to 42424. That's METER to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I am Steve Smith, Sr., former NFL wide receiver and host of the 89 Show on YouTube. As men, we're taught to handle things. Be strong. Don't complain. Don't talk about it. Being a man also means being a father, a friend, a husband, and carrying all that gets heavy. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. If you got things you don't say out loud, BetterHelp gives you a place to say them. Online therapy that works around your schedule. Visit BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com/89. Don't wait.
Spring savings start early at Lowe's. Get a Cobalt 24-volt max leaf blower for just $99. It's powerful, lightweight, and ready to go. Plus, get 4 bags of Stay Green 1 cubic foot garden soil for just $10. Don't wait. Get everything you need to start on your spring projects today. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid to 3-4. Soil offer excludes Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last.
1015 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
And we are back on The Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN, 1015 FM. Talk of Las Vegas. It is the best in pro wrestling. And we've got one of the great personalities in pro wrestling with us as Al Burke joining us on the show. Of course, was a member of WWF for a long time, the UWF, and so much more. Is going on to an acting career and doing a lot of stunt work too, by the way. That's always interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, life is good. I can't complain. Even at my age, I'm still getting booked. I'm a happy camper.
There you go. Well, it was brought up by William Regal a little while back about guys not being safe in the ring, and he's concerned about people, injuring their necks and stuff like that, not coming down wrong. And you do stunt work too, so you've seen it in Hollywood and in the ring.
Yes.
And I don't know how much of the current product you watch, but do you think that guys are taking too many chances and not being as safe as maybe they should be when they're wrestling and doing some of these crazy things?
Most definitely. Unfortunately, the pressure is so great at the top with the wrestling promotions that, what are you going to do for me now? I don't care what happened yesterday. Show me something better. Show me something more dangerous. Show me something that the crowd will go, oh, that's all they want. And it's sad because, yes, people are getting hurt all over the place. And, I was blessed. I mean, I ended up with, 4 damaged discs, I think 7 broken noses. I couldn't tell you how many fingers and toes, but it's not easy. I get hurt more doing stunts in Hollywood, which are very defined and thing, but I'm one of those guys they can bring in that can take like a backdrop onto the concrete with no padding.
Yeah.
Because maybe not as much nowadays, but I could probably still do it. I would be sore and stuff, but I won't walk away injured. You have to know your limitations and you have to work at this. And these guys, I don't think they work hard enough to perfect a move to go out and do something. But yeah, the pressure on them is huge.
Yeah. Is there a lack of proper training out there? I mean, there's a lot of great wrestlers that run schools, but are they just maybe some guys at places where they're not being trained right, or is it just that pressure that you talk about is so huge to get that, especially for the guys in the indies, to get that one viral moment that everybody's going to go, oh my God, look at that, and hope that's going to get them noticed instead of maybe working on the total picture of becoming a better professional wrestler?
Yeah, I didn't work with him. I saw a young kid in my neighborhood here in California, and he talked to me about all the things he could do, and I'm like, no, dude, just go out and wrestle, because we were really the basis of what I felt was real wrestling from the 60s, 70s, 80s. We were going there where Vince was going bigger, crazier, all that kind of stuff. And this kid ended up breaking his neck. Now, he didn't get paralyzed, but he could never wrestle anymore. And I said, dude, was it worth it? Oh, yeah. I'm like, dude, at the time, I think I had done 25 years. And I'm like, I've done 25 years of wrestling, and I'm still going strong. You're done after a couple. That's not worth it to me.
Right.
Oh, I guess. I'm like, okay, never mind. I'm not going to argue with you because you've already made your move, and now you're disabled, kind of. So, I mean, he went off and had a career. I think he did an electrician. So, he got that, but he didn't get to fulfill his dream other than a couple of years. I got to live mine for many, many, many years. And even now, coming on, shows like yours and talking about what we got to do back in the day. Yeah, it's cool. And sadly, nobody out there will get to do what we did back then, where we were basically the jobbers getting our ass kicked every week. Hey, like I said earlier, biggest, baddest guys in the whole wrestling world, and we got to face them. You won't.
Yep, that is true. Bionic Scoop in the chat box says, I've always felt it's the law of diminishing returns. The bar gets set and you can never keep up. Risk increases, so does injury. You think that's a fair statement?
Yeah. Well, it's the drive, and Vince was famous for it. I mean, Owen Hart ended up, dying from it, coming out of the rafters, Yeah, great idea, but, nobody was ready for the quick release to come loose, boom, fall, break his neck, dead. Show must go on. It's a weird business, but that's what we signed up for. And when I went to wrestling school, the guys that taught me were the Terminators at the time, Riggs and Wolf and Voight. But they said, if you go to the second rope and jump off, you could hurt yourself. If you go to the top rope and jump off, you could end your career and be crippled. Is it worth it? I probably didn't go to the top rope and do anything off of there until 10 years into my wrestling business.
Wow.
But I felt, okay, and they also told me, it's going to take you 8 years to really learn this business. They were right. At 8 years, I realized, like, wow, I didn't know crap back then. But, I ended up continuing on learning. And when I got to the top rope, first thing I would do is, when the guy comes over to throw you off, I'd rake his eyes so he could clear, and I would I'd lose my balance, take the big tumble off. Mm-hmm. I was taking my own bump. So I knew what I was doing. I love doing that. I mean, it's a great feeling. It's like you're way up there. Oh, boom, down you go. The crowd laughs, all that. You got your entertainment value. Yeah, crazy business, but I was very careful. I finally did, I think, a couple of frog splashes off of there. I think it was about 15 or 20 years into my career.
Wow.
Guys like Jimmy Snuka who did it all the time. And I saw him, and I worked against Jimmy twice. And first time, I saw so many bubbles and little Tweety birds. I thought he hit me square on the head, and the camera crew guys were laughing at me out back, and I'm just like, oh my God. And they go, no, come here, we'll show you. And they showed me on the videotape how he came off, and it was chest to chest. That's all it was. And that's the kind of collision we have. So they said, you got to work harder, dude. So I go back to the gym, working out. And I ended up facing Jimmy like 6 months later, I think. Took the frog splash. Didn't see any bubbles. I mean, I was happy. I was like, okay, I moved myself up to the crazier level. Even though being on the ground, getting frog splashed is not that crazy anymore compared to what they are doing. But hey, we're out there, we sacrifice our body, and we try to entertain people.
What's a crazier world, Hollywood or pro wrestling?
they're both different. They're both crazy. I think Hollywood is a little more refined only because there's so many different companies that are running it, where pro wrestling was basically just Vince for so long. I mean, even when, Turner had WCW, Vince was still top dog, hands down. So, it's there's a craziness there that you've got to do what Vince wants. And, but, I think, it's safer in Hollywood because we do have a lot of precautions in there where, wrestling, they will go ahead and sacrifice you and let's see what happens. Oh, that wasn't good. Let's not do that again. Sorry, buddy. You're injured for life. And, take him away. We'll move on.
What would you change about pro wrestling? Let's put Al Burke in charge of pro wrestling for a little bit. What things would you do differently?
Well, sadly, I don't think it can ever be changed because they've set the bar way up here. And when I did my last match, it was just before COVID hit. So it was 2019, I believe it was, up in Toronto. And I went out and my finishing hold was the sleeper hold. The crowd was going berserk. I went back to the locker room and I go, see guys, see the pop that got, because I worked up, finally got locked it in and, and they were like, oh yeah, but we'll still do our big stupid stuff because we like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, 37 years, a bunch of injuries, but nothing that would stop me. And even nowadays, I can get out of bed. I can just go. So I'm not having to rehabilitate from anything stupid I did in wrestling, where so many guys do.
Oh, are people still recognizing you from The Wedding Singer and some of the other movies you've done? I mean, if you don't know, Al's got like, how many credits do you have on IMDb? It's like 300-ish somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's quite a bit with stunts and everything. Yeah, people will come up and like, and it's funny, because when I first got the script, I'm looking at it and reading it and like, wow, this is such a chick flick. The number of guys that like this movie is unbelievable. Now, I do some Comic-Cons and I go off and sign autographs, and that's one of them. The guys would be like, oh my God, I love that movie. I'm like, dude, settle down, man up here. But the guys that really love the movie too, and a lot of us, I think, can relate to the Lindas of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, I'm willing to settle for you. I don't want you to settle. Get out of here.
That's great.
But yeah, that small little part, and I think I told you on the first show, I was the bad guy, always in wrestling. That movie came out, and the fans instantly changed me to a babyface. I could do no wrong. I tried my hardest. I mean, I turned it up, to be the baddest guy out there. And they were like, oh, no, you're cool. We love you. I had to give in. I became a babyface for the rest of my career then.
No, that's not so bad. Being loved is okay.
I loved being a heel. You have to be nice to anybody. We'd go to a restaurant, we go to a bar, and it's like, what are you looking at? Get out of my way. We didn't have to be nice. Baby faces have to be nice all the time. So, I'm kind of on the edge there where most of the time I try to be a nice guy, but every once in a while you piss me off, I'll snap on you.
Well, Al, are we going to see you back in Vegas anytime soon, by the way?
I will be there this summer in a couple of months here. They changed the date, which kind of screwed me up on another thing. So I'm only going to be there. I think I'm going to get in on Monday night. So normally I'm in there, Saturday or Sunday. We have fun. We go around. We, see the sights. We have a few drinks, just a few.
Yep.
And but no, I will be in there for sure. 99% sure for the dinners, for the awards. And one thing I did want to say. You see that?
Beautiful.
This is my newest Hall of Fame. Came this year. It's from the Minnesota Hall of Fame, so very honored. That's my second one. So
nice.
I guess I've done something in my life.
I think you have, Al. I think you've made some great contributions in so many different places. And, if anybody wants to find you real quick, because I got about 15 seconds, where can they track you down?
Instagram is the easiest. Al Burke 4722.
All right. Al, thanks for coming on. It's good to see you again, my friend.
Good seeing you. We'll see you in a couple months.
Sounds good. Al Burke, everybody. There you go. And when we come back, we will get to hear from Jimmy Failla from Fox News. How about that? Al Burke and Jimmy Failla on the same show. That's what we do here on the Mark Hoke Show. We bring you the best. Stick around, everybody. We've got a whole lot more. Plus, we'll get back to Elimination Chamber and some other news. CM Punk was shooting his mouth off again. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. We'll be right back.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
We're here with Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center. Chuck, where can I find your nearest location in Southern Nevada?
Great question. The best way to find us is Google Dollar Loan Center near me, or go to don'tbebroke.com, where you can even apply online if you like.
Well, I use ChatGPT now.
I'm sure that would work too. The bottom line is it's worth the effort. We save customers a lot compared to other payday or title places, and we lend way more. We even give all new customers the first week's interest on us, sort of a free trial. There's no fee to apply, and they can keep this loan out for up to a year if they really need to.
Founded in Las Vegas over 28 years ago, DLC lends up to $5,000 in minutes. Stop by any of our 25 nearby locations to meet our real friendly staff. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
I used to work for the insurance companies. I saw their delays, excuses, and lowball offers. Every time someone got hurt, I realized this system wasn't built for you. It never will be. So now I fight for the injured, for the people the system tries to ignore, for those the insurance companies hope will take whatever they're offered. At Sam & Ash, we make sure you get what you actually deserve. Call Sam & Ash Injury Law at 702-820-1234. Injury lawyers who win.
I've protected accident victims while flashy lawyers stack easy money and bullshit awards. I started a law firm that sets a new standard. At Sam & Ash Injury Law, we go to war against insurance companies to get you what's right. We protect you from greedy corporations and their careless clients. We force them to pay for what they've done. If you've been injured, visit samandashlaw.com. We fight, you win.
If you qualify, not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong?
I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code PLAN to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code PLAN to borrow up to $10,000. Use code PLAN to borrow up to $10,000.
KMXB HD3 Henderson, K268CS Las Vegas, 1015 FM KDAWN. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Operation Epic Fury continues in Iran. I'm Ann Carrick, Fox News. 3 U.S. service members are reported killed in action, 5 seriously wounded. Others are being treated and returned to duty. The U.S. and Israel launching a surprise attack yesterday. Iranian officials admit the supreme leader was killed. Fox's Aisha Hasni.
The president is warning that these precision strikes will continue uninterrupted throughout the rest of this week or as long as necessary. And he's also issuing a new warning to Iran to not escalate these things. He wrote on True Social overnight, Iran just stated that they are going to hit very hard today, harder than they have ever hit before. They better not do that, however, because if they do, we will hit them with a force that has never been seen before. An interesting move to note here is the president also released a video in which he offered immunity to members of the Islamic National Guard. It's a move that some experts believe could be used to avoid a power vacuum situation like the one we saw in the Iraq War.
President Trump urging the people of Iran to seize control of their destiny. Lawmakers in Congress now set to debate a war powers resolution following the strikes on Iran. New Jersey Democratic Representative Josh Gottheimer telling Fox and Friends he does want a Congress briefing about the strikes.
We shouldn't do anything to undermine our servicemen and women in the middle of, obviously, kinetic activity. And we've seen what Iran is doing, right? Not just, of course, to our bases, but to our allies.
Most Republicans support the strikes. Several, but not all, Democrats say the strikes are illegal without congressional approval. President Trump could veto a resolution if passed by Congress. Pope Leo says he's deeply concerned during this tumultuous time, commenting on X about events related to Iran, adding stability and peace are achieved only through reasonable, sincere, and responsible dialogue. America's listening to Fox News.
You never know who might be taking the quiz.
Hi, everyone. It's Candace Cameron Bure.
Hey, everyone. It's Phil Sims.
It's Dolores Catania.
Hey, everyone. I'm Kix Brooks.
It's Candace Bushnell.
I'm Rob Paulson.
I'm Ryan Serhant.
Hey, everyone. I'm Nicole Palizzi.
Everybody's Kevin Nealon.
What's up, guys? It's Nia Sue, and it's time to take the quiz.
5 questions in less than 5 minutes every day. Listen and follow at thequiz.fox.
The world of business moves fast. Stay on top of it with the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday. Fox Business reporters, anchors, and hosts will bring you beneath the stock market speculation and boardroom drama to tell you about the biggest business stories of today. Whether you're on Main Street or Wall Street, Fox Business is invested in you.
Listen to the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday at foxbusinesspodcasts.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
We're at the Circuit of the Americas.
Bubba Wallace has the lead with the runs on top. Here comes Hocevar, 3 wide.
It's the Duramax Grand Prix, Sunday, March 1st at 11:30
on 101.5 FM KDAWN.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Let's go, everybody. The best in pro wrestling news and entertainment on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. We're having some fun. Al Burke, that guy is great. And, catch them down at the Cauliflower Alley Club. They're usually here every summer, so check that out. A blast, always talking to Al. And it's also a blast that we got to talk to this guy from Fox News Saturday night and from Fox Cross America, which you can hear right here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas, from 3 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. Jimmy Failla, huge pro wrestling guy, absolutely loves it. Got all sorts of memorabilia and watched it for a very long time. Tried to have Sergeant Slaughter on the show, and you're going to hear that story in a little bit. We did get a little bit of time to sit down with Jimmy, and if you can give me 1 second here, as soon as we get everything all squared away, Bear with me. Maybe we'll have to come to it after the break. I'm not sure. I've got a little issue I'm dealing with, so I'll stall for a while. But we'll hear from Jimmy in just a couple of minutes. Let's take a look at what happened at Elimination Chamber. Just some of the other things that took place. We talked about Danhausen showing up. CM Punk and Finn Balor, of course, that match goes to CM Punk, so it will be CM Punk and Roman Reigns coming at you at WrestleMania this year. That is official now, at least for the moment. You never know. Crazy stuff happens, I suppose. But that one wraps up. Interesting part about what's going on with Becky Lynch and the AJ Lee match. Of course, AJ Lee comes out and wins the Intercontinental title. But, she keeps having Jessica Carr involved, the referee. And you kind of got to wonder, well, what's up with that? Why is it always Jessica doing her matches? And one thing to keep in mind is that if you didn't know this, Jessica is a wrestler. She has actually been on Evolve wrestling as Calyx, and she used to be known as Kanati Brink. So, she's been around for a while, and it looks like, are we setting up a Becky Lynch, Jessica Carr feud? I suppose that is a distinct possibility. But yeah, so Jessica Carr, keeps going. Now, I offered Becky last night, she wants to do an interview for WrestleMania. We'll have you covered, and I'll help her out, get her mojo back. But yeah, that's an interesting part to this whole thing. So we could be seeing Jessica Carr and Becky Lynch hook it up somebody. I'll tell you though, could you imagine if they decided that they were going to put Jessica on her first match at WWE as at WrestleMania? What a crazy thing that would be. Could not imagine, but so interesting stuff there for Jessica Carr maybe coming. Rhodes and McIntyre are going to be hooking it up on Friday. We also saw the return of Seth Rollins in the Elimination Chamber, as Friday we had one of his students get unmasked as that mystery masked figure, but it turns out is officially now Seth Rollins. So it looks like we're going to get Seth and Logan Paul at WrestleMania. And of course, they had a reverse situation in 2023. If you didn't know that, if you forgot, Logan interfered in an Elimination Chamber match against Seth. So flipping roles a few years later. Another interesting thing that happened, and a couple people picked up on this, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Did you notice Triple H stayed inside at the end of the show? Of course, we got rid of the press conferences. Then we had him go outside, and a couple times he's gone outside. Has not been a good thing. So they kept him inside for an interview. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So, that was, I thought that was, it was small, but it was, that was something important. So, we now with WrestleMania, here's where, at least at the moment, it stands. CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Stephanie Vaquero, Liv Morgan. At the moment, it's Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. But once again, Cody is going to be challenging Drew on Friday. And I think no matter what the result, Cody will be in the match. Jade Cargill will now get Rhea Ripley as she won the women's match. So it'll be two powerhouses in there. And Brock Lesnar with an open challenge. Obafemi? I don't know. I wonder if, I think if they're going to do a retirement match, they're going to do a little more of an announcement with that. But Lesnar Obafemi would be fascinating. Not going to lie there. Of course, I'm I'm really hoping that it's James Ellsworth. I think that would be fantastic. Bring back the chin, man. Bring back the chin. But that's where WrestleMania stands right now. Like I said, I think we can expect Seth and Logan Paul to be added to that as well. So things starting to shape up, and you guys are in the chat box. Do you like it? Do you think we're in a decent place on this? As WrestleMania ticket sales were down 19% from where they were last year. They have the original configuration at 43,000 in the stadium. But that place holds 66 plus. And by the way, they made a lot of money off that, man. Oh, $66 million over the weekend. Yikes. That's some serious coin right there. And let's see. And by the way, speaking of money that they made, did you guys see how much WWE made? $1.709 billion in 2025. They were actually over UFC in terms of income. It was a 22% increase off 2024, where they pulled in $1.398 billion. So not a bad run there. And by the way, a couple comments in the chat box, buying Scoop, saying fans can't hijack his interview if they aren't there talking about Triple H. That is correct. I don't know, man. They just keep hiding away. Javon Campbell 8357 says El Grande Americano versus original El Grande Americano is my main event for WrestleMania. I'm sure the boys would put on a good match for main event. Well, if it's your main event, you can say whatever your main event is all you want. But yeah, I don't know about that one. The Rock made some money, by the way. That's also came out in FEC filing. That Dwayne got $17.7 million in TKO, or $17.7 million in TKO shares in 2024, $4 million in 2025, got $1.8 million in royalties, and WWE covered 2 points. How do you do this? I don't think I could spend $2.6 million in travel in 2024. Then another $600K in 2025. That's a lot of money. I know he's doing movies and stuff, and was coming back and forth to WrestleMania and everything, but man, dude, fly coach every once in a while. Yikes. Lots of money there. So, yeah. And some other WrestleMania news. Speaking of that wonderful event coming up here in Las Vegas, first hour is going to be airing on ESPN2. So everybody's going to get to see the first hour. And the start time is now going to be at 2:30 Pacific. So an interesting decision there by WWE to have WrestleMania begin early, number one. I think that's not a bad idea, especially on Sunday. So I mean, if you're starting at 2:30, that's 5:30 East Coast time. That works. So I have no problem with that. I think it's partially because that everybody just wants to go back over to the Fountain Blue and get hammered both nights. But that's just me. But the show in the first hour, what a tease, man. That's a lot. I mean, especially considering your opening show match is usually a pretty big one. Well, they're going to try and tempt some people that may not normally watch wrestling. So an interesting play there by WWE to have WrestleMania kicking things off on ESPN2. See how it goes. All right, we're going to step back, take our first break, and we will be right back here on the Mark Hoke Show. It is the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. Whole lot more coming at you. Lord, CM Punk. Oh, jeez. Having a little discussion. Big deal going down in the entertainment industry. What happened? We'll discuss that. Title changes in NXT. And someone got chucked out of an Uber. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Nevada's essential workers keep our state running. Now, One Nevada Credit Union wants to help you own a piece of the state you support. Eligible home buyers can receive up to $20,000 in down payment assistance to use towards your down payment, closing costs, or eligible loan expenses. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for your next home, if you work in healthcare, education, law enforcement, or construction, this could be your key to home ownership. Don't wait. Visit onenevada.org today.
Membership required. Loan subject to credit approval. Program eligibility and terms apply. Equal housing lender.
Nevada's essential workers keep our state running. Now, One Nevada Credit Union wants to help you own a piece of the state you support. Eligible home buyers can receive up to $20,000 in down payment assistance to use towards your down payment, closing costs, or eligible loan expenses. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for your next home, if you work in healthcare, education, law enforcement, or construction, this could be your key to home ownership. Don't wait. Visit onenevada.org today.
Membership required. Loan subject to credit approval. Program eligibility and terms apply. Equal housing lender.
Empower. Pete's back on the links with all new golf clubs and hopefully less swearing.
Dang, sliced it.
He worked with Empower to help him get good at money so he can be a little bad.
Heads up!
Oof. Talent sold separately.
Guy said these were slice proof.
At least he has money for lessons. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code PLAN to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code PLAN to borrow up to $10,000. Use code PLAN to borrow up to $10,000.
Wendy's has a new Girl Scout Thin Mints Frosty Fusion with Girl Scout Thin Mints cookie pieces, rich creamy frosty, and a mint chocolate cookie sauce. Which means Girl Scout Thin Mints and Wendy's Frosty, yeah, they're basically best friends now. It's like two delicious desserts just high-fived, snapped a few too many friendship selfies, and then rode a tandem bike down a never-ending road of mint chocolate frosty perfection. So, swing by Wendy's and try the new Thin Mints Frosty Fusion.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
1015 FM KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
And we are back on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 1015 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. Having a great time talking some pro wrestling with you. And still a lot of things happening around the world of pro wrestling, and we're going to try and get that. For some reason, my interview with Jimmy Failla didn't load, so we're gonna try and get that squared away for you here in just a little bit. AJ Styles, hey, that rumor's dead, kids, about him going to AEW, as AJ Styles managed to sign a new contract with WWE. So he is going to be working behind the scenes, and he has said he's done. He is done. It's over. So, guys, forget about your fantasy with AJ Styles joining up with AEW. That is not going to happen. So, forget that. Another thing that's dead, at least for now, and I am celebrating. The draft, the WWE draft is not scheduled. Yes. Yes. Back in the day. Okay. I gotcha. Not today. Just that thing has been moving around way too much. And it is just stupid how that worked out. So. WWE draft gone. Oh, okay. And it looks like we're all good with the Jimmy Failla stuff. So let's get to him. Of course, the host of Fox News Saturday and host of Fox Across America here on KDAWN. Why don't we hear from our good friend, Jimmy Failla, everybody. All right, everybody, we are on the Mark Hoke Show and thrilled to welcome back one of the great radio and television personalities on the planet. Yes, I said it. He is the host of Fox News Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time on the Fox News channel, Fox Across America with Jimmy Failla, which can be heard here on KDAWN 3 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. And he's also out there on that Everybody Calm Down tour, which sold 2 shows out in Las Vegas. It's going to be in Evansville, March 7th, St. Louis, April 11th, Des Moines, May 2nd. And I also saw he's going to Hagerstown and Reading, too. I'm going to wish you the best of luck on that, Jimmy. I'm very sorry. Jimmy Failla, everybody.
Yo, not only did I sell out 2 shows in Vegas, but you were able to sneak past security for one of them.
I did. I think it's because I had a kid with me. So.
No, I know that was the trick, because I was just about to file a formal complaint with the property, and then I saw the kid. I was like, all right. They had to let you in. I'm kidding, Mark. Great to see you, man.
Good to see you, too. Good to see you. You know, how is it that this is our second interview, and we had a significant event the last time you were coming on, and now we got another one with the U.S. winning Olympic gold, men's and women's, but good Lord, Jimmy, it didn't take 12 hours before all hell is broken loose on this. Can you believe the politics that have gotten interjected into this thing? And for those that don't know, Kash Patel was already over in Italy doing some work and went to the game. He's a big hockey fan, and they won, and they invited him in the locker room, and everybody's flipping out.
Yeah, you know, you think liberals would give him a break when it comes to hockey, because technically speaking, it's the only place where men can have periods. You know, you'd think this was right in line with their agenda, but no, that can't. You can't have nice things. And now we've got, obviously, the men's team is going to the State of the Union tomorrow night. It sounds like the women turned it down because of a scheduling conflict, which is probably political in its own right, and they don't want to make hay of that. But the reality is, everybody in this country should be so thrilled right now, you know, because of all the people that beat. The Canadians are they had it coming. You know what I'm saying?
They're out of line. They're out of line.
In the last couple of years, and what I love about this is they'll have to wait 4 years for a rematch, which is the same amount of time they've got to wait to get an MRI up in Canada with their garbage healthcare system that they like to brag about. So I'm riding high. I'm with you. I'm riding high.
Yeah, it is just amazing how this is all broken down. But we're having this problem in pro wrestling too, and I think I emailed you about it. I don't know if you got the chance to check on it, but we have a pro wrestler named Brody King who is wearing a Abolish ICE t-shirt on a televised event, and now all of a sudden we've got people chanting F ICE at pro wrestling events. And Jimmy, you're a big wrestler.
Yeah, come on.
What is up with this, and how bad is that for pro wrestling to have something like that going on, in your opinion?
Well, at first I thought it was like a heel move. You know, like the Iron Sheik used to come on. I was talking about this because I had Sergeant Slaughter on Fox News Saturday night like 3 weeks ago. And it's so funny. We did the show and we had no idea it wasn't airing because there was a development in the Savannah Guthrie case. So we're in the studio doing what we think is live TV. They didn't tell us it wasn't airing until the end of the show. But me and the Sarge had talked about this. I saw your email and I said, hey, man, are they just being heels and trying to work up the crowd? But apparently they weren't.
No.
And I got to tell you, man, I mean, you know this, but the average person kind of takes this part for granted. ICE is doing the single hardest law enforcement job in America, which is they're there to get people with violent criminal arrest records that are in the country illegally. And normally that's pretty easy for them to do if they're apprehending somebody in a jail. But in these sanctuary cities, ICE is forced to make these arrests out in the open where there's people blaring horns, blowing whistles, cursing them out, spitting at them, because the sanctuary cities don't let you apprehend them in jail. That's the whole hang-up, is they don't get a detainer on a guy and call up ICE and say, come get this guy while he's in handcuffs. They let him out like it's Pokemon Go, which is psychotic. Okay, and I had Tom Homan on Fox Across America Friday. I'm sure everybody listening on KDAWN heard it. And he was telling the truth. He's like, nobody likes to hear it, but all of these sanctuary cities are putting their citizens in danger because they're the ones creating the chaos. But that's why these ICE people think they're in the right. They go, oh, like ICE, ICE shot a lady. But they make it sound like they shot this lady, Renee Good, because they were just bored on lunch break.
Yeah.
She hit him with a car. And maybe you can argue she should still be alive, fine. But you have to acknowledge she played a role in what happened to her, because if you don't, you're basically telling everybody listening that what she did was fine, and maybe you should be well within your rights to try that too. And I got to be honest, it's not going to end any better for the next guy who does it. Same with that nutbag Alex Peretti, who, again, I'm not happy he's dead, but if you watch the video of him kicking out the taillights of a federal vehicle and spitting on an ICE agent, at the very least, he's being an a-hole. Maybe you shouldn't die for that. But if you're being an a-hole to an armed cop and you yourself have a concealed weapon that you haven't disclosed, again, we just have to acknowledge the odds have changed. That's it.
Are we in an age where we're going to be stuck with politics in every phase of entertainment that we have? No, we're going to outgrow it. We're not there yet, but it's coming. I mean, one of the reasons why it's this, it's this dialed in is because we have a transformational figure in there. It's politics are exciting because you have an exciting guy in there. Okay, a lot of politicians by comparison are bored. Like I like boring. I like JD Vance, I like Marco Rubio, but if either of them are president, it's going to be a lot more boring than this because they don't give you 7,000 quotes a day. And liberals don't have the ability. They're going to try to manufacture hysteria. They've treated every Republican the way they treat Trump, but it really isn't going to stick, with the average guy who's a little more conventional. That's my guess. I think when Trump leaves, it might normalize for a little bit. And we're on with Jimmy Failla. And Erica, before I get my maybe last question or so, and Erica, did you have a question for Jimmy?
I do in a way. Listening to what you just said, Eric Bischoff wrote a book years ago called Controversy Creates Cash.
Yep.
And with the current president, like him, don't like him, just his presence alone, it's controversial.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think before 2028 that's going to change?
Not out of Trump. I mean, Trump's just going to Trump. The old saying, you can't fix grandpa. He's been doing what he's doing for 80 years. There's only one Donald Trump. That's why everybody thought it was such a scam when everyone on the left started calling him Hitler and all the other stuff, because they were acting like this guy came from the fringe and we'd never seen this personality out of him before. When the truth is, Trump, if you go back and watch a video from the 80s of him being interviewed, he'll put down a reporter or say it's a stupid question or say you're not that talented. So the scam is what you said. He's got so many eyeballs on him that a lot of people gain clout and traction and relevance by going after him. And that's what everyone's doing. I mean, look at the commercials of people running for office that aren't even related to him. Did you see that woman that's running for the House of Representatives in Chicago and the video is F Trump?
Yeah.
But she's not going to deal with Trump. Like they're never going to cross paths except after the election when she's working a McDonald's drive-thru and he goes there again for PR. But other than that, no. So I think it's a lot of people manufacturing hysteria so they can glom on it.
Thank you. I agree. I feel like just his name alone, people want to react, whether it's positive or negative, and they need to stop and just let's make America great again.
Hey, man.
There's even been some people talking about trying to get him out of the WWE Hall of Fame and crazy stuff. For people that don't know, you are been a huge wrestling fan. You make a ton of pro wrestling references on your show.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Tell me why.
Listen, I grew up at the peak of wrestling when MTV integrated with the WWF is what it was at the time. I was obviously watching a lot of Piper's Pit. I have all those WWF thumb wrestlers in my office at Fox. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Iron Sheik, Ricky the Dragon, Steamboat, the
Hulk Hogan, Big John Studd.
I have a Big John Stud sitting right there, thumb wrestler. Great. And, I was a guy who grew up, you wrestled. You went in the yard and jumped off the fence and hit your buddy in the head with a lunchbox. And, I grew up in that era. And all I'm ever doing on the radio, so you understand, is I drove a cab, as you know, for about 10 years, full time. And I'm doing the kind of show I wanted to listen to. That's the truth. I liked political talk. I liked entertaining shows like morning shows, and I wanted something that kind of split the difference. So I'm really just doing a morning show in my time slot, and it happens to revolve pretty heavily around politics. That's all I'm doing. That is the secret sauce. Doing the show I feel like listening to. When I can't get the Mark Hoke show, obviously.
Well, obviously.
Obviously, that's going to be my go-to. I mean, I've left orgies to listen to the show. I mean,
well, I don't blame you. I really don't. I am a sexy boy. Sexy boy. Sorry. I didn't mean to do that. No, yes, I did. Well, Jimmy, I know you got to get rolling. I had a special surprise for you, but I guess I have to sit on it. It's going to be like Thanksgiving seeing the Christmas presents.
We'll do it again. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me know when you let me back on. I love hanging out with you guys. I normally do have more time on my hands. You know what I'm doing tonight? I'm not even going to be on TV. I'm just going to a preparation meeting for the State of the Union, which is essentially don't tweet jokes about this. That's what I'm basically doing. They're basically putting a shock collar around my neck and telling me how many votes I'm going to get depending on what topic I tell a joke about tomorrow night. For real, that's what I'm about to go do.
All right. Well, I wish you best of luck on that. I hope you survive.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, I'll be sure to let them know they interrupted me and Mark Hoke. I'm sure some of them will die in shame, and rightfully so. They know how much this show means to America.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to have to use that soundbite for sure. Jeez.
Yes.
But once again, catch Jimmy Failla, Fox News Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time, and on KDAWN here, 3 to 6 p.m. Pacific. And, go see his show if you're anywhere near it. It's a great show. I promise you, you're going to love it. Jimmy Failla, everybody.
We'll always have this, boys. Take care. See you guys.
Nice meeting you, Jimmy.
You too.
All right, and there you go. Jimmy Failla, everybody, joining us on the Mark Hoke Show. And, second time Jimmy's been on the show. And it is just crazy how when we scheduled Jimmy, big stuff happens. I mean, the last time it was the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and now we got him right when the U.S. Olympic team won gold. Plenty to talk about. And, politics has been creeping into wrestling recently. So unfortunately, I'll throw it up here too. Haiku30 says, okay, I'm out this turning political talk wrestling. Jimmy is a pretty big wrestling fan. And, unfortunately, I had a whole bunch of crazy stuff I was going to do with him, but he had to go to that meeting real quick. So we didn't get to talk as much wrestling as I wanted. But, the ice chance went up again at Dynamite and Collision this week. It is, and we're starting to see more and more people on social media saying, get this out of here. And that's the right way to do it. That this shouldn't be on there. But, hey, people are going to do what they're going to do. You open the door, somebody's going to walk in. And it's also pretty fascinating if you look what just happened. A couple of things that slide into that realm. One was CM Punk's comments. You get a hold of this. So here's what he was asked about politics, getting involved in pro wrestling, and everyone always says don't be political until it's their politics, then they're rooting for it. And CM Punk is one of the more outspoken people, and then everybody started throwing up the trans kid shirts and the abortion shirts that he wore. And you have Hangman Adam Page, and you got Brody King and Thunder Rosa just started talking about this stuff. And I just couldn't believe what he said. My deal is I try to do no harm, but ultimately you censor yourself. You try to bite your tongue. You're going to wind up pissing somebody off anyway. You're always going to piss somebody off. And, reference the U.S. hockey team, saying the hockey players are, I think a lot of them are being dumb. But I'm not getting to the White House. I wouldn't get invited to the White House. So it's not a decision I have to make. How does he know that, by the way? Trump's a big pro wrestling guy. Maybe he invites some of the WWE superstars to come down there. But it's one of those things that, and he also mentioned about if you're approached, if you don't say something, people get mad. If you do say something, people get mad. But look, here's the thing. You like this ice stuff, for example, it's polling at around 30, percent with just reform, not just not that it includes abolishing it. And it's bad for pro wrestling, I think. I really do. Look, when somebody is hired to an entertainment business, if you're hired to do a movie, like for example, let's say Robert De Niro, he was hired to play Al Capone in The Untouchables. They didn't hire him to play Robert De Niro. In pro wrestling, they didn't hire Hangman Adam Page to be the guy he is outside the ring. They hired the character. They didn't hire Phil Brooks. They hired CM Punk. That's what they want. And the problem is that when you cross those lines, here doing a radio show, we do commentary. So we're going to talk about all this stuff. But these people are in a position, especially in pro wrestling, that they're kind of comic book superheroes to everybody and villains. It's not real. And these people are playing a character. So we have that image of that character. But when you take things from the outside world and you put it into it, one side or the other, it's going to cause problems. People are going to get turned on or turned off. And it's honestly best if you keep it outside. When you put it on the TV shows, it makes it 100 times worse. And that's where I personally have a problem with it. I don't care if anybody has an opinion, and then that's going to either help you or hurt you, depending on who you're talking to. But when you put it on the shows, then the show seems like it's sanctioning a side, and that's not good. We just want our pro wrestling. So, I think Phil is wrong on what he said about this. Really do. You're going to make people mad, but so you choose to take the other route that could hurt what you're doing as a profession. I think he's not on track there. So, yeah, it was pretty interesting. Another thing that everybody's freaking out about right now is this merger. We talked about the Warner Brothers Discovery situation, that they were going to Netflix. Well, Paramount stepped in, raised their bid significantly on the stock shares, and all of a sudden, they are now going to be taking over Warner Brothers Discovery as Netflix dropped out, and WBD just took the offer. So, and this is a crazy list, by the way. Obviously, this is going to affect AEW being on HBO Max, because they're going to be headed over there. Discovery owns TNT and TBS. But this is just an amazing list of companies that they are going to be holding now. So once this goes through, Paramount will hold TNT, CBS, CNN, MTV, TCM, Showtime, Adult Swim, DC Studios, Paramount Plus, Nickelodeon, HBO Max, Comedy Central, Cartoon Network. They will have the film rights to Star Trek, Gremlins, Beetlejuice, DC Comics, Tom and Jerry, Harry Potter, Citizen Kane, Transformers, and a whole bunch of other stuff. The Lord of the Rings movies, the Mission Impossible movies, Game of Thrones, this is insane. Now, Netflix was going to be getting all this, plus what all they had. So either way, it's loaded. But at least going to Paramount, I think Netflix would have just been taking over and having an absolute monopoly. Just about. It would have been them and Disney. But now at least Paramount picking these up at least makes it a triumvirate of entertainment companies. But I know a lot of people were freaking out because the owners of Paramount are apparently conservatives, and CNN is going to, they may have some fun with that. But a big move, and it'll be entertaining to see how AEW handles all this. I don't know. I if I were them, I wouldn't touch it. But Warner Bros. Discovery also, we found out that they have a small ownership stake in AEW. What happens to that? Interesting. This is the business side of this sport or this industry is something to behold. And this is a game changer, everybody. It is a game changer. Plus, by the way, there's one other issue too. Paramount has UFC, which is under the TKO banner. Do you think that TKO is going to be really thrilled about having a competitor involved in their company? I don't know. So brace yourselves for that, everybody. The industry wars are going to continue whether we like it or not. All right, let's take our final break. And when we come back, who got thrown out of an Uber? And we have a wrestling veteran who is wrapping up his career at 83 years old coming up. How about that? Stick around, everybody. We've got a whole lot more on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, talking Las Vegas. We'll be right back.
The Southern Nevada business community loves the DLC. Why is that, Chuck?
Look, small businesses have one goal: to get new customers and keep current customers. But sometimes their customers are just short on money. That's where we come in. Vets, dentists, apartment complexes, auto repair shops, really any small business can send their customers to us.
And you hook their customers up with the cash they need. Brilliant. No wonder they send their customers to Dollar Loan Center.
We're also the perfect place to send your employees when they hit you up for an advance or a loan. We'll treat your staff like family, hook them up with some cash, and eliminate you having to say no.
Founded in Las Vegas over 28 years ago, DLC lends up to $5,000 in minutes. Stop by any of our 25 nearby locations to meet our real friendly staff. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
Empower. Ellie here is getting the sleeve she's always dreamed of. She worked with Empower and planned for her next move. So she got good at money. Now she can be a little bad. Oh, by the way, you spelled journey wrong. No worries. She can afford the cover-up too. Ooh, check out my tat. It says, invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
This is Steve Smith here, former NFL wide receiver and host of the 89 Show on YouTube. In football, any sign of weakness can be used against you. So I always put on a tough front, but inside, I was struggling mentally on how and what to do. It takes years to understand that only by opening up could I begin to overcome them. If you need someone to open up to, BetterHelp Online Therapy can help. Visit BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com/89 to get started.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text METER to 42424 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text METER to 42424. That's METER to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
101.5 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
All right, final segment of the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, talking Las Vegas. By the way, what did you expect from Jimmy Failla? The guy does a politics show. But God, I had all next time he's on, trust me, we had a lot more wrestling questions ready to go, but we kind of got limited on our time there. But a lot happening in the road to WrestleMania for WWE as Do you know how many title changes WWE's had? I've lost track. We got to be in the 30s at this point since mid-September. 3 more title changes at NXT. Well, they can't make up their minds down there, can they? As the Vanity Project, Bray Baylor and Ricky Smokes win the NXT tag titles on Tuesday. We then had, pardon me, I'm sorry, my highlights are getting a little messed up here. Ilya LaFleur wins a triple threat match to win the Speed Championship. He is the first Frenchman since Andre the Giant to win a title in WWE. And the North American title also changes hands. Miles Bourne defeats Ethan Page to win the NXT North American title. So, the big question on all that is, what's up with Ethan Page? Is he main roster bound? He should be. Look, I get that maybe you're trying to integrate yourselves a little bit into the WWE way of doing things. But people like him and Ricky Starks and Mariah May, or Blake Monroe, excuse me, and Ricky Saints, I still call them by their AEW names, sorry. What are they doing down there? And then they just had Blake Monroe lose in a mini tournament for the women's speed championship. Boy, is she getting punished. Unbelievable. But yeah, Ethan Page, I think, is the more fascinating story out of this. Where is he going to be? I'd love to see him up on the main roster. I think it'd be fantastic. Ethan has just done such great work down there. He is not an NXT person. He's a main roster guy. So congrats to all of our new champions in NXT. Oh, man, a lot of title. I think it's 5? I guess it's 5 this week in WWE again. But it brings up a bigger question, too, is that are they just using these titles to draw attention with all the swaps they've done? Go look it up. It's a crazy amount of title changes. Then you have, if your plan was Rhea Ripley was going to challenge at WrestleMania for a world championship, why'd you put the tag titles on her and Io Sky in the first place? Just to lose them on Friday night and then Rhea wins in the Elimination Chamber. Why not let the Irresistible Forces had the belts a while ago? Just they're playing some games there. They better watch out because you don't want to devalue those titles too badly. Now that's part of the story. Hot potato every once in a while is not bad, but man, you got a whole farm of potatoes getting cooked. Let's see. Like I said, we mentioned that Irresistible Forces win. Karrion Kross, by the way, was doing an interview, got texted by Paul Heyman in the middle of it. That's interesting. All these guys going down because Bronson Reed went down as well. So the entire vision, at least momentarily, was on the shelf. Now Rollins is back, not counting Logan Paul, but 3 of them down. The original guys. That is crazy. Oh, but Paul Heyman, would he be trying to get Karrion Kross back? Look, do you realize they just brought in Danhausen, but they wouldn't keep Karrion Kross? Killer Kross outside of WWE. That is, I don't know. I'm a big Kross guy. I know the guy. WWE doing what they did to him was insane. You never know. Maybe with WrestleMania in Las Vegas, but he is the MLW champ, so he'd have to drop that too unless they worked something out. And considering there's just a big lawsuit between the two, I don't think that's going to happen. Darby Allin. That is somebody that has done rideshare. If somebody was doing an interview in the back of my car, I'd be like, hell yeah. Do it, man. I got a story. Give me an autograph. But Darby was doing an interview for a Tucson radio station, and the driver got irate and decided that he was going to tell Darby to stop. I was like, look, I'm doing an interview here. Now, this is live. I can't just stop. And now I gotta say this, I did not like that's not 5-star behavior. Oh, I just, no, that you don't say, Darby. You will not get me on that part. And I will say this, that I'm curious if he asked the driver about it first. That is a courtesy, I would think, if you're going to do an interview in somebody's car. But the driver lost it. I'm so tired and I just can't stand listening to this. I just, stop it. Darby wouldn't stop. And this whole thing's going out on the radio, and the driver pulls over and gets Darby out of the car. So Darby is stranded in an Arizona highway by an Uber driver who didn't want to listen to him do an interview. Wow. But like I said, I am curious if Darby asked. Just thought. May have prevented you from getting in the car with the 7-minute abs guy. But hey, whatever happens. Our good friend, man, Boogie Woogie man, Jimmy Valiant. Did you guys hear this one? Jimmy Valiant is going to be having a retirement match at the age of 83 years old. That is nuts. So we're going to be seeing Jimmy Valiant wrapping up his career. He is going to be doing this, on April 25th in Lancaster, South Carolina at Buford High School. They are calling it Boogie's Last Dance. There you go. Because we all know the Boogie Woogie Man like to do the knee thing and come out to the boy from New York City. And one of the all-time greats, the Valiant Brothers, of course, fantastic. And Jimmy had some legendary feuds in the NWA, too. The Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, retiring at 83. I can't, man, I'm going to be lucky if I'm not dead, or at worst, like sucking down pudding through a straw when I'm 83 years old. Boogie Woogie Man is going out there and wrestling. I can't imagine what his body's been through. That is just insane. But yeah, you want to check it out? There you go. Boogie's Last Dance down in South Carolina. Get your tickets now. Eric Bischoff's Real American Freestyle 6th edition happened this weekend, and we had a fight. And there's probably something on the stage. None, and it's a little different ball game here. But Armand Surakayan and Giorgio Poulas, after their match, got into it. One of them slapped the other, and off they went when the match was over. So we have our official nasty rivalry in Real American Freestyle. You can check the footage out on that. That was absolutely crazy. We rarely see anything like that happen in that style of wrestling. But hey, we got to fight. We've also got another bald dude. Wheeler, you're not alone. You're not alone, Wheeler. John Morrison, down there known as Johnny Consejo or TV, was shaved bald in CMLL in a loss to Angel de Oro. So Johnny says goodbye to his hair. But here was the really crazy part. He actually looked pretty good. People were out there on social media saying, Johnny looks all right. His wife was like, yeah, he does look pretty cute. But come on, what that guy is. And there's not a guy out there that wouldn't want to look like John Morrison. I'll just say that. So even bald, he looked pretty sharp. So Wheeler, it's okay, but nice job, Johnny TV, pulling off the dreaded bald look. All right, and I think that's about going to wrap it up for us here on the Mark Hoke Show. So we want to thank you all for joining us today. We certainly do appreciate it. I want to thank our guest, Al Burke. Great guy. Love that guy to death, and just so many stories. We'll see him in Las Vegas, probably at the Cauliflower Alley Club coming up later this summer. Let's look forward to that. I want to thank Jimmy Failla for taking the time out to join us as well. And once again, you can catch his show on Fox News. That is Fox News Saturday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And also here on our station, KDAWN at 101.5 FM from 3 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. So make sure you check him out. Jimmy's a really funny guy, and but puts things in the right way. Well, it kind of makes sense. So check him out. I'm sure he would greatly appreciate it. And you can follow him on X at Jimmy Failla. All right. So get ready, guys. WrestleMania coming to town. The indies are getting all booked up and ready to roll. WWE now can completely focus on WrestleMania. And I know we're going to be involved with talking to some of the WWE team. So we're looking forward to that. Should be terrific. And we're going to keep bringing you the best in pro wrestling right here on the Mark Hoke Show. So I want to thank you all for joining us. Follow us on all our social media at the Mark Hoke Show on Facebook and YouTube. X is at Mark Hoke Show. And also the Mark Hoke Show on Instagram and TikTok. Guys, we'll see you next week. Have a great day, Las Vegas. Get your tickets for WrestleMania. Come on, we'll see you out here. Have a good one.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join the Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
The speed.